Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the two types of smart objects in Photoshop. If you've not watched the part 1 of this where I discussed the difference between a smart object and a regular or raster image, you can go now and check it in the link above or in the description below to watch it and be up to date with what we're talking about. But if you've watched it already and you are here for this video, you're welcome. So let's get going. So guys, we are back in Photoshop and with the same image, but this time around they are both smart objects. The difference in this one is that one was created by the computer and one was created by myself. But before we go deep into this, I would like to make mention to you that they have the same features or similar characteristics as we discussed in the last video. Their difference with raster images, that means that when you try to use the brush tool, the clone stamp tool, the eraser tool on them, it's not going to work. When you try to put a filter, it's going to create a smart filter layer on it, and when you transform, it is going to have a diagonal line around it. But one thing I forgot to mention in the last video is that when you transform, let's say for instance you choose to warp this image. Let me warp. So I'm just going to do something random. So you choose to warp this image and you have this object like this. When you Ctrl T and you try to warp again, it is going to restore or give you back the warp from where you started. So you can continue warping, you can add more or put less. But for a raster image, it is simply not going to do that because, like I said, it is destructive, while a smart object is non-destructive. So let's get into their differences. The one that was created by the computer, by the way, is the smart object still. I renamed it smart object still, and the one that was created by me is the smart object. If you drag and drop an image in Photoshop or you place an image in Photoshop, it is automatically going to make it a smart object, and this is how this smart object still was created. When I double click on this thumbnail, it is going to open another window to show me the original file of that smart object that was created. If you do this on a layer that is not a smart object, for instance a raster image, it is going to open up a layer style for you. If you do it on a shape also, it is going to, instead of opening up a layer style, it is going to open up where you can change the color of the shape. You can only get a new window when you try it on a smart object. So I'm going to try it on this smart object still now, and it is going to open up a new window where I have my smart objects.png, and it has .png because it is a PNG file. You can actually work on this file. You can use the brush tool, you can use the clone stamp tool on this file right now. Remember, it told us that it was not directly editable. That was because the box in itself cannot have the clone stamp or the brush tool. Imagine trying to clone a box of, I don't know how to put this, but not the image itself, a box that is covering the image, and this is a clone stamp tool or a tool that should work on the image directly, and you are putting it to work on the box. It can't work on the box, so it is going to tell you it is not directly editable until you open up that box and get into the image, and then you can edit it. So with my clone stamp tool now, I can remove the lips. So using the clone stamp tool is very simple. Holding the Alt key down, your mouse will change to this. You click on the point where you want to clone or where you want to copy and clone. So I click on it, copy it, and then I go over to the place where I want to place that copy and I brush over it. And that is as simple as that. It clones it out, and I can choose to close it. It will ask me to save changes. I will say yes. You can also use Ctrl S even without closing, using Ctrl S and saving it. As you can see, this guy has no lips anymore. That was because I used the clone stamp tool to change it, but I can't just do it on this image itself. I have to go inside to do that. So why was it .png when I opened it? It was because it is a PNG file originally when it was created. So let's say for instance I open a JPG file. Will it also have a JPG file extension in it? Let us find out. So I have this image here. I click and drag and drop and I place on and I click on enter. By the way, when you're trying to transform, you are seeing this, which shows that it is a smart object. This thumbnail also reinforces the fact that it is a smart object. When you double click on the layer and open it, it's going to show you .jpg. So it does the same thing. It shows you .jpg because it is a JPG file. That is that for the smart object still. But what of the smart object itself, the one I created? How do we create it? It is simply by having one or two or more images. Any image that you want to combine as one and work on them as one. You can either make it a group or a smart object. If you make it a group, you can open the group and work on the individual images. If you make it a smart object, you have to click on the thumbnail before you work on the individual images. But aside that, they are almost the same thing, apart from the fact that you cannot use brush on a group. You cannot apply smart filters or filters on groups, but you can transform as well. Having this as a smart object, I will open it now. The first thing you have to notice is that the file extension is different. While the other one is .png, this one is .psb, which means Photoshop big. It is just a file extension which indicates that it can allow more files into it. As small as it is in the original file, open it here makes it a bigger, even bigger file. So it is kind of a compressed version in the original file, and when you open it, you can see everything in it, and there is no limit to what can be inside the .psb file. As far as there's no limit to what you can add to a Photoshop document, apart from the limit that your system gives you, there's also no limit to what you can add here. So I can add more objects here and update. I can remove and update. I can change this text. So it gives me more freedom. I give this name Smart Brain. It gives me more freedom. I can choose to take out this brush and reveal this, or the layer mask, not brush, and reveal this, or hide it and leave it hidden. I can choose to remove the bevel and emboss layer effect. I can choose to remove the stroke, and when I'm done, I can save, and even without closing it, once I've saved it, it updates here. So we have the Smart Brain now, no more smart object. So guys, that is it for the differences between the two types of smart object. What makes them unique? I'm just going to tell you that while you are free or have much freedom to work on this, it takes more file space to compare with the one Photoshop created. The one Photoshop created is just a file size, or a file that you brought in from somewhere, so it does not take any space more than that one you brought in. But for this one, because it was created inside Photoshop, it will keep on taking space. It will take more space. If you add more things, it will take more space. So it takes more space. But then, what is the disadvantage with this? This one is that you have no freedom to edit anything on that image. You have no freedom. You can only remove or add, but you cannot edit the original image as you want. Let's say, for instance, I wanted to remove the stroke of the smart object still. It won't be possible. If I want to take out the bevel and emboss effect, it is not possible because I don't have that freedom. But if I have the freedom here, I will do the same. So those are their two big differences. And in the next video, I'm going to be talking to you about mockups, how you can create mockups, and I will give you a little tip of what you have to expect. It is related to one of these smart objects. So in the next video, we are going to be adventurous. We are going to try something, and I would want you to use your system. Don't just watch the video for watching sake. Open your laptop and work alongside with me. If you want to get the files I'm gonna use, I'll drop it in the description in that next video so that you can follow me along. So that is that, guys, for this video. If you enjoyed it, by the way, like the video, leave a comment in the comment section, tell me more things that you want us to discuss, and if you enjoy the whole content of this channel, subscribe to the channel if you are new here, and share with your friends, invite them to subscribe as well. Thank you, and till we meet next time, my name is Charles. Goodbye.